Hello, and thank you for joining me once again. I seem to be being attacked by a plant here. The day of the Triffids. Do 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 do. I want to talk a little bit today about ESP, extrasensory perception, or as my mum did say on one occasion, extrasensory contraception. Maybe that's the way forward in the future. Condoms, birth pills, no, it will become extrasensory contraception. Or maybe that's just saying no. Leaning on an open door there. So, extrasensory perception, or the sixth sense as it used to be called. But then, as I said in a recording a few days ago, we now recognise that there are actually 8 senses rather than the 5 that we used to understand as senses. So I'm not quite sure where ESP now fits in. It's described as the reception of information not through recognised physical senses rather than the mind. So where does the mind fit in with the emotions, the body? I'm not sure. I've always struggled with that one. But they have done some recording of brainwaves when people are using ESP, and there has been shown to be brain activity in the right hemisphere. So the right hemisphere is one of its main purposes is working with creativity. So I suppose some could say it was working because people were being creative and making believe that they were doing what they were doing. I don't know. But the right hemisphere was definitely activated rather than the left, which is largely for logic. So, who is to say? But they describe it as having psychic abilities. So that will put a lot of people off straight away because they will see that as being rubbish. Don't agree with that. No, that isn't an actual thing. But then I guess over the years we've poo-pooed lots of things until they have been proven to be true. There are supposed to be about 9 different sections to it, different areas, and these include telepathy and clairvoyance. And I have to say both of those are areas that I reserve a healthy skepticism about. But other areas included are empathy and intuition. Now, those are areas that certainly I know I make use of and have done for a long time. They're essential for my work as a counsellor and a hypnotherapist. And as a teacher, we can't just work on the straight and level factual plane. We have to use both our intuition and our ability to empathise with clients, with pupils. So I reserve judgment on that one. And I'm sure that there is research somewhere going on. We shall see. But I am totally convinced that there are a lot of things that we don't understand. When we lived in South Wales, my husband used to fly the Hunter aircraft, and the planes were whizzing over our bungalow with regular monotony. I never knew what time he was flying, but I knew when he was flying. And I would go out into the garden and I'd wave, and he'd waggle his wings as he flew over. And the same house that we lived in, it was pre-mobile phone days, pre-computer days. So our landline was our form of contact with family and friends. And I just knew when it was my mum phoning. And it wasn't a set time, set day or anything. And I'd pick the phone up. Oh, and no number recognition, number display or anything like that, of course. I'd pick the phone up with, "Hello, Mum." And my son, he and I had similar connections, I suppose you could say. He was out in India travelling, and when he went, he made me promise that if there were any problems, I wouldn't hide them from him. Fine, yeah, I'll do that. Anyway, I'd had one of the routine mammograms, and I had to have a call back for a needle biopsy. And I just got back from that biopsy, was literally walking through the door, and the phone rang. And it was my son phoning from India. And he said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I was just walking along a street, surrounded by lots of mayhem and noise and everything." He said, "And I knew I had to phone. I knew there was a problem." So I said, no problem. Come on, you promised." So I told him. And he said, "Right, I'll get on the next plane home." I said, no. Let's wait till we get the results. Then if the results are negative, then negative as in there's no problem, then just carry on. I said, "But if the results show something that is serious, then support might be appreciated." But there was just that link across the world that he just knew. What causes those links? I don't know. Do you? Can you explain it? On that note, I'm going to go and get changed and get down to earth and get on with a much more earthly task of painting my door. It had its first undercoat yesterday, so I need to go and get changed and give it its second undercoat before the rain starts. Thank you for listening. Speak to you tomorrow. Bye.